Joining me on the BT Couch, Dr. Jewel Perlin. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Jewel, listen, we're talking about something that is making headlines for a few weeks now around the world. This is one specific example, of course, and is fears. In this case, fear of flying, for example.
Right.
But fears that maybe you didn't have before.
Right.
And also sometimes people that have fears that don't have a basis in fact, really. This is what we're talking about today.
Right.
So first of all, I mean, you know, and I'm sort of speaking on a personal level here because with all that's happening in the aviation these days and those headlines, I traveled all my life. And now if I was going to get on a plane, especially in certain parts of the world,
Right.
I would have a bit of a doubt. So why is this happening, first of all?
Well, I think one thing for sure is that the news is very much about sensationalizing information, right? We want people to watch it, and so we're going to try to get it very sensationalized, which then affects our emotions. When it affects our emotions, it gives us a response, whether it's going to be anxiety in this case, and then that's going to affect our thought process. And so it's going to have us start developing the what ifs. What if the plane crashes? What if I'm on this plane? How am I going to get through this incident? And so it's very common to have those fears related to what we're seeing in the news.
And a lot of times it's about the fact that it's a fear that you've never experienced before.
Right.
And then it just sort of pops up. And you have specific tips on how to deal with this. Number one would be to just stop for a second. Take a step back, right?
Yeah. So I often refer to the acronym STOP. And STOP really is you stop, you take a step back, you have to do something to calm yourself down, just to relax for a moment. So whether it's taking a couple breaths or it's just saying, let me sit down and let me just want to take a time to just think this through. You then observe what is really prompting me to have some sort of emotional reaction. In that case, we're talking about anxiety related to fear. So what's going on? Did I just watch a newscast? Did I watch a movie, right?
On my way, just before heading to the airport or something like that. Second, check the facts. So before you make any type of irrational decisions, check the facts.
So checking the facts is really important. The facts are really what is the real situation. We often have interpretations of the events, but we don't know what the facts are. So when we're talking about planes, right, what's the likelihood of a plane really crashing? Right?
I remember just asking myself that question in the past, taking so many planes, what really are the chances, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
No. So I think we have to put it into perspective, right? And so the idea is that, for example, we have to say, okay, what is the likelihood? What's the percentage? You know, do I really have the ability to predict the future? Do you have a crystal ball?
I don't.
No.
Not one that works anyways.
Right.
And then there's a way to challenge those worries that you're feeling, those fears.
Right. So it's very important to back to when we sit down and we take a step back, is that sometimes we have to take the fears and the worries outside of our head. Because whatever goes on up here, it gets really, really busy. And so when we start writing it down on paper, and maybe you could do something like a worry diary, when you start putting it down on paper and you start actually seeing.
To see it is something important.
It's very important. And then you start developing alternative explanations for it. So is there evidence, right? You know, is it based in facts? You know, can I follow through?
Facts are so important because that's what's real. And then how do we quickly just try and get rid of those worries, try and let go of them entirely?
Right. So I think what's very important is this notion of letting go of worries is that first you need to be aware that you have them, right? Because a lot of people walk around all day long with a lot of things going on and they're not necessarily aware, but they're feeling a little bit of anxiety or they may be feeling anger or even sadness. So the first thing is you need to be self-aware. After you're aware, you need to say back to, is this something that I want to hold on to? After I've checked the facts, after I challenged it, is it something that I still want to have?
Well, of course, Dr. Jewel Perlin, thank you so much. So important that's regarding one situation, flights especially, check the facts and just, you know, take a step back before making any type of decisions. Thank you so much.